So drivers off on the formation lap once again. We see Tiger Jr. there in the McLaren being dropped back to 17th position after a penalty received in qualification. Once again, we'll go up and down the grid to show you what this race is going to be looking at the beginning. Some idiot in the Racing Point currently running in pole position. Next to him on the front row is David in the Renault. Jumbex third in that Alfa Romeo, of course. Fourth for the Flyer 634 in the Ferrari. Tech Slave in fifth in the other Alpha. Tiger Racing sixth. TJD seventh. Gelmel eighth. Zavi back with us, of course, ninth in the Red Bull. Smasha rounding off the top 10 in the Ferrari. Cosmin 11th in the Haas. Big Boy Daniel 12th in the Racing Point. Kai Bacchini in 13th. He received a 10-place grid penalty earlier on in qualifying. He did qualify in second, and with the return of Zavi, we'll see him back in 13th. Grosjean boy in 14th in the other Red Bull. Cali 15th in the Mercedes. Brownie in 16th. And Tiger in 17th. Tiger Jr. and Brownie had a collision in qualifying, taking Brownie out of the session and preventing Tiger and him in that Williams from setting a time. So I can definitely say, based on previous races here for the ASN PCL, Brownie definitely a driver to watch for here. He is going to have to move through a lot of traffic here in Monaco in order to make that race position up that he was unable to set in quali here, as the drivers now coming back onto the grid, getting into their rightful starting positions. All drivers having to start this race on the tire compound they did select and set laps on in qualification. As I do believe just waiting on Tiger to maintain his 17th place on the grid now. Drivers getting their revs up now. We got 3 lights, 4 lights, 5 lights here in Monaco. And it's lights out and we are away. It is the Racing Point of Some Idiot in lead of this race right now as we move up through turn 1. We already have a Mercedes off into the barriers there. That is going to be Tiger Racing as we come up through turn 1. Lots of contact now. Cali taking a 5-second penalty for a severe collision. As the grid has already seemed to separate quite a bit here, we'll see intervals come across into lap number 2 here as the Racing Point now moving down through the teardrop hairpin. We do have a VSC due to the opening contact here in the race. That VSC should go away in just a few moments. Cali taking a 5-second penalty with a severe collision with the McLaren of Tiger Jr. We are back to green flag racing here in Monaco. Some Idiot is still up in pole position. David has dropped back a position into third. Jumbex up into second. Flyer still in fourth now with Tech Slave on the rear of him. Gelmel has moved up a couple of places. He's in 6th, 7th for Smasha. Zavi's moved up a place. Bacchini has taken up 4 slots ahead now. Tiger Racing taking a 10-second time penalty. Tiger Jr. a 3-second time penalty for corner cutting. It's penalty city here in the opening lap of the race, with Some Idiot setting the fastest lap thus far at 1:24.1. The amount of penalties coming across here in Monaco so far is absolutely crazy. What a crazy race we have had here so far, as TJD, Zavi, Smasha, and Tiger all into the pits. Cali as well, having to repair damaged wings. What a crazy amount of action here just on the opening lap in Monaco. This is gearing up to be a very, very scorching race, is what I meant to say. Thank you, Race Mode, for the host. Greatly appreciate it. As we do have intervals now, it is Flyer currently less than a second separating him and the Renault of David. Gelmel in the other Renault, less than a second separating him and the Alpha of Tech Slave. Those are the 2 battles to be looking for at the moment, as Flyer is gaining on that Renault of David up through sector 3 here. A little bit of contact on the front left of that car in the Ferrari, moving through the second last turn. Some Idiot crossing the line with a 1:12.0, fastest lap of this campaign thus far. David, less than a second separating him and P2 right now. He'll be looking to make a move, I'm sure, but he is under pressure from the Ferrari behind him. Gelmel now very, very tight on the rear of that Alpha. Of course, this is a very difficult overtaking circuit. We'll see if he's able to make a move happen here on lap 3. We're going to jump on board now with the Renault through the teardrop hairpin. Very, very tight to the rear of that Alfa Romeo here. We'll see if he's able to make a move up through the tunnel. That Grosjean boy jumping into the pits in the Red Bull. He's dropped back a couple of places. Tiger and Smasha have moved up a couple places now as well. All 6 of our lead drivers still on that soft compound tire. Kai Bacchini in a good position on those mediums right now up into P7. Gelmel not able to make anything happen through the tunnel here. He's dropped back a second behind Tech Slave. Gelmel dropping back a bit. Looks like they've already approached the back marker. I think that's Callie. Callie diving into the pits now in the Mercedes. Tiger Racing out of the session in the other Mercedes. So it's up to Callie now to secure some points for the Silver Arrows. That Renault of David still keeping tight to the rear of the Alpha in second. Moving down through sector 2 now. As these drivers move into the teardrop hairpin. Very, very slow corner here. One of the slowest corners on the F1 calendar. Of course, guys, one thing to be aware of, the Monaco Grand Prix started in 1929. It's been a very long time this Grand Prix has been in the F1 calendar. This Grand Prix, very fast, very narrow, requiring a lot of experience and practice to get things right here. And so far, so good for the top 3 drivers, as Some Idiot, Jumbex, and David are rounding off the podium positions right now. Some Idiot currently running away with the lead, 5.3 seconds ahead of P2. Gelmel looking to maybe attack that Alfa Romeo again in the battle for P5, as he has now dropped things back down to less than a second. Flyer dropping back behind the podium positions now. As you can see, he has some front wing damage there. His front left end plate is missing. Going to cause him a little bit of control problems throughout the race. Safety car here on lap 5. Not too sure what caused the safety car here. Very possible that there was some kind of accident. Maybe somebody ran wide here. Unfortunately, I missed that. Tech Slave taking a drive-through penalty. Unfortunately, he was unable to keep that delta positive here under safety car conditions. That's definitely going to impact the race of the Alfa Romeo here. Thank you for the host, Cyro. Greatly appreciate it. Hello, Total Wizard. Thank you, everybody, for tuning into the ASN PCL Round 6 Monaco Grand Prix here, as we have some of the drivers diving into the pits now under the safety car conditions. It's Flyer, Kai Bacchini, and Brownie all into the pits now. Kai Bacchini going to be moving out very, very shortly, as he's getting a wing change, tire change. Grosjean boy disqualified from the session in that Red Bull, ignoring a yellow flag. TJD disqualified from the session for ignoring a yellow flag. What is going on here for some of these drivers? Very, very interesting race here, and we are only lap 6 through Monaco, as we have Some Idiot following that safety car through the tunnel. So, safety car came out on lap 5. We are now on lap 6, waiting for a couple of drivers to finish up their pit stops. Very, very interesting race here so far. As we have Grosjean boy. Could be that I had a race control error here, as it looks like Grosjean boy and TJD are still driving through the pits now. I was under the impression that they were disqualified from the session according to race control, but it looks like they are still driving. Very interesting here as the safety car remains out here for lap 7. Looks like TJD no longer with us, as his car was ghosted just a second ago. It might be because he was a back marker having to overtake that safety car. Given the distance between TJD and Grosjean boy to that safety car right now, with also Tiger Jr. and Cali, we may see that safety car come in here at the end of lap 7, but it's unlikely if those drivers have to catch up. Thank you, Cyro. Very, very crazy race here in Monaco. Not too sure what to make of it so far. Some idiot still in the race lead, of course, in that Racing Point. He did start in pole position. David in 3rd. He was on the front row, but he's dropped back a position. Jumbex in that Alpha moving up a slot into 2nd place. Very interested to see what happens after the restart here. Looks like a lot of these drivers, unfortunately, unable to keep their speeds down. People ignoring yellow flags. Not too sure what to make of all of that. Monaco definitely living up to its reputation here. Safety car, like I had predicted, is going to remain out for lap number 8 here. Take a look at the position changes now here through the Grand Prix. Some idiot still maintaining that pole position in the race lead. Jumbex up a slot, David back a position. That rounds off the podiums right now, the podium positions right now. Tech Slave up a slot into 4th. Gelmel up 3 slots into 5th now. Flyer dropping back a couple of places into 6th. Brownie, having started at the back of the grid, he has moved up 9 slots here so far in the Grand Prix, now sitting in a comfortable 7th position in that Williams. Kai Bacchini moved up 5 slots. Cosmine in that Haas moving up 2 positions. Xavi and Smasha both being pushed back 1 position each. Big Boy Daniel in 12th, maintaining where he started. That Grosjean boy is up a slot. TJD in the Haas has dropped back 7 positions. Tiger Jr. is up 2, and Cali is down 1 from where he began. Tiger Racing, unfortunately, has dropped back 11 positions to the back of the grid with a retirement here in the race already. Take note of the stops here. The top 5 drivers on the grid right now have not yet stopped for a wing change or tire change here in the race. Drivers from position 6 up through 12 have all taken 1 stop apiece. That Grosjean boy taking a 5-second penalty for a severe collision with TJD here under safety car conditions. Race control now informing us that the safety car is going to be coming in at the end of lap 8. Notice some idiot in the Racing Point now backing up the grid to get a proper start here ahead of the safety car restart. He's going to back things up so we can have a good launch. Gap to leader now. As you can see, Cali and Tiger have been lapped. It is green racing here in Monaco. They were not required to catch up to the race queue. Some idiot getting a great launch here up through sector 1 now. Jumbex very, very tight to the rear of him as we get some intervals forming now on lap 9. Coming through down into the teardrop hairpin section. Xavi into the pits for soft compound tires. That Grosjean boy taking a multitude of penalties here in this race. He took a 5-second penalty for speeding into the pit lane. One thing to note for these drivers is that the assist for entering the pits is off, so they are required to put on their pit limiters and maintain appropriate entry speeds, and they will definitely take penalties throughout the race here for ignoring that rule. Some idiot here on lap 9, already 2 seconds almost ahead of the Alfa Romeo of Jumbex. David, looking to regain that second position here on the Alfa, is running in third. We'll go on board with him now. Flyer very, very close to the rear of Gelmel in fifth. We'll keep a close eye on that as well. Brownie looking to make up a position. We'll go on board with Brownie here, as he's very, very close to the rear of the Ferrari. Quite the little cluster forming here through turn 1 with these drivers. Gelmel catching the Alfa in front of him, of course. Brownie rubbing his hands together as he looks to see Flyer and Gelmel fight, of course. He'll be wanting to sneak through. Grosjean boy out of the session. He is retired there into the wall, as you can see, moving down into the teardrop section, as we have a VSC coming out now for the drivers. So far here, guys, it is lap 10. In Monaco, we have seen 2 VSCs and a full safety car deployed. Definitely an action-packed race here. A lot of contact, a lot of collisions, a ton of penalties here for the ASN PCL. Monaco definitely not disappointing here so far, as we are not even halfway through. Only 10 laps here into the Monaco race. Only a quarter of the way through this campaign. PSC, I'm sure, is going to be coming in shortly here. So out of the 17 drivers on the grid, we have 15 drivers remaining. Race control telling us that DRS has been enabled. Texlave and Gelmel diving into the pits to switch out those soft compound tires. Makes it very interesting for Flyer and Brownie. They've each moved up a position. Kai Bacchini now up into 6th position in the McLaren. He is also gaining on the rear of the Williams. Could be very soon that we see a move from Brownie and the Williams on the Ferrari of Flyer. Yeah, yellow flag through sector 3. Gelmel takes a 3-second time penalty for a corner cut. Very tight through that turn there. A little bit of contact with the front left or front right wheel of the Williams. Flyer maintains that position in 4th. Brownie is going to look to make a new move, I'm sure, once again shortly. Very nice angles here from the Codemasters video team. Thank you very much. That's a very beautiful shot of these guys. David still tight to the rear of that Alpha of Jumbex. He's looking to regain that position that he started in. Brownie. Ooh. An issue with Brownie. Looks like he had a bit of a spin there. Maybe a loss of the rear on the curbing there, as Kai Bacchini, Cosmine both move ahead of him, and Flyer maintains his P4 position. Texlave into the pits. Allows Big Boy to jump into 9th. Gelmel into 10th now. TJD and Zavi all moving up a place. Texlave into the pits for the hard compound. Kai Bacchini is going to be looking to make a move on that Ferrari soon. We'll see if anything happens through the tunnel here. Texlave taking a 3-second time penalty after multiple warnings. One thing to note in all of these races, everybody, is that penalties definitely play a huge role. As when it comes down to the end of these races, it's usually only a couple of seconds separating these drivers. Penalties are going to play a huge role into the final timings and grid standings at the end of this race. Kai Bacchini looking to maintain a very tight gap to the Ferrari in front, now moving through the pit straight. He's going to go down the inside now into turn 1. Is he able to pull something off there? Ooh, there's major contact with the McLaren of Kai Bacchini. He takes a 3-second time penalty for a curbing corner cut there, as we saw. Looks like everything's intact for the McLaren, though. Flyer is not going to be happy about that, as he currently has no end plates on the front wing of that Ferrari. Should be easy pickings for the McLaren, as he currently has his front wing fully intact. Brownie has closed a major gap there to the 5th and 4th position drivers as well. Zavi in 11th, looking to maybe make an overtake on TJD here. It's not going to happen here, but it's going to happen soon as he's very, very close. Kai Bacchini jumps ahead of that Ferrari of Flyer. Brownie as well, moving ahead of Flyer. That damage is extremely difficult for that Ferrari to manage here in Monaco. Would not be surprised if we see that Ferrari dive into the pits for a wing change here. And he does. Brownie looking up to take position 4. Big boy Daniel taking a 3-second time penalty after multiple warnings. Flyers now drop back into 7th after the pit stop. Still holding in the pits. Callie takes a 5-second penalty for crossing the pit lane exit. Not going Callie's way today here in Monaco, that is for sure, as now we have Smasha, TJD entering the pits. Flyers on his way out. Brownie, currently the battle to be watching here, fighting for 4th position. Couple of things to note here for the fight between Brownie and Bacchini is that Brownie currently on the 8-lap old medium compound and Bacchini is on the 8-lap old hards. So that definitely could play into Brownie's favor here at this point in the race. Some Idiot, Jumbex, and David all refusing to pit so far here in this campaign as they are still maintaining the podium positions on the soft compound tires. But Jumbex and David, the first out of the pole, or the podium sitters to jump into the pits here. Some Idiot running on those 14-lap old softs. We'll see if he comes in at the end of lap 15. Kai Bacchini now moving into 2nd position with Brownie hot on the rear of the McLaren in that Williams. Currently less than half a second separating the two of them. You guys got to keep in mind here, as you can see, according to our position changes, Brownie has moved up 13 positions so far here in this race. What a charge we have seen from that Williams. These safety cars and VSCs definitely playing into his strategy. Some Idiot now into the pits. Currently 13 seconds as he entered the pits, separating him and the 2nd place driver of Kai Bacchini. Some Idiot's going to hope to retake that leadership position as he exits the pits. Unfortunately, the undercut from Jumbex and David didn't pay off the way they wanted it to, as they're currently sat in 5th and 6th. Some Idiot is now out in 3rd position. Kai Bacchini and Brownie up into 1st and 2nd. Some Idiot only 4.5 seconds behind P2. He'll be looking to decrease that gap over the next couple of laps here as he's now out onto the medium compound tires. We'll see if he wants to stretch those till the end of the race. Kai Bacchini now into the race lead. We did see him qualify P2 in the short qualifying session. Unfortunately, grid penalties saw him take a back seat out of the points positions at the start of this race, but he's doing a very, very good job of jumping back into the points here in that McLaren. Under a lot of pressure from the Williams, of course. Behind him is Brownie. We'll take a look at the onboard of Brownie moving through lap 17 now. As Jumbex and David jump into 4th and 5th position behind the former race leader, Some Idiot. Currently 10 seconds ahead is Some Idiot on the Alpha of Jumbex. But as those drivers are on the fresher compound tires, they will be looking to retake their podium positions that they had before they jumped into the pits. David very close to the rear of the Alpha, but so is Brownie on the rear of this McLaren here. A couple of battles to keep in mind. We're going to jump on board with David now. Flyer with the overtake on Xavi out of the tunnel. Looks like he's made that move stick. Flyer, unfortunately, had some major wind damage earlier on and had to concede 4th position. Cosmine taking a 3-second time penalty after multiple warnings. David currently less than half a second between him and Jumbex in front of him here as we go on board through Sector 1. Down into Sector 2 now, approaching the teardrop hairpin. Some Idiot has already caught up to Brownie and Kai Bacchini. We'll see if David's able to make a move here through the tunnel, but it doesn't look like he's close enough right now. We're going to jump on board with Some Idiot now as we watch the battle for podium positions unfold in front of us. As you can see, these drivers very, very tight right now, moving through the last corner into lap 19 now. Some Idiot in that racing point being very, very cautious, watching the battle unfold between Kai and Brownie. Virtual safety car coming out now as we have a retirement from TJD and Callie. Ooh, not too sure what happened to TJD and Callie there. It looks like Callie's off at the exit of Sector 2. All drivers now required to reduce their deltas. VSC is now off, and we are back to green flag racing here in Monaco on lap 19. DRS is enabled. Xavi and Gelmel into the pits now. Some Idiot has dropped back quite a bit on the 2 race leaders currently fighting is Brownie and Bacchini. But given the tire life that Some Idiot has on those mediums, it shouldn't be too long before we see him catch up. And when I say catch up, I mean he's already very tight to the rear of that Williams. So out of the 17 drivers that started this campaign in Monaco, we are down to only 13 drivers remaining. Currently watching the podium position battle unfold between the McLaren, Williams, and Racing Point drivers. Ooh, and Brownie thought about it, but then he thought better on it. He was going to go down the inside there on the McLaren, but he's coming around the inside now into Sector 3. Is he going to be able to make a move stick here? It looks like he's out ahead. Oh, there's a huge collision. Oh, my God, and that Williams has rode the wall as that McLaren went wheel to wheel with the Williams coming through Sector 3 now. And there's no safety car. That is absolutely incredible. And I am extremely excited that we managed to catch that here on the broadcast. Bacchini and Brownie now diving into the pits for fresh tires and a wing change. Some Idiot retaking his race leadership position. That was absolutely crazy, if I do say so myself, and I am shocked that we did not see a safety car deployed after that collision through into Sector 3. That was absolutely wild. Brownie and Bacchini into the pits now. Cosmin and David and Jumbex all moving up positions now as Jumbex and David retake second and third. Some idiot currently 10 seconds ahead in the lead of this race. That was an absolutely crazy thing to watch here in Monaco. I hope all of you got an opportunity to witness that, because I think the timing for the camera could not have been better here. As we're now on lap 21, some idiot still in a dominating lead of this race here. He was just rubbing his hands, watching things unfold in front of him, and his patience most definitely paid off. David very tight on the rear of that Alpha all race. David has been applying super pressure to Jumbex in that Alpha. As we come through turn one here, looks like we have once again another VSC. It's Kai Bacchini and Cosmin now exiting this race. It looks like they had an issue again, Kai Bacchini in sector 3. It looks like it was just around the same spot that the first collision had occurred. So we're now only down to 11 drivers remaining here in Monaco with 18 laps to go, as there is a VSC. Most of the drivers currently in the running, all on the medium compound tires now. The only driver that isn't is TechSlave in the Alpha on the hards. He's jumping into the pits, though. It could be he jumps onto the softs or the mediums. I think the mediums be the better tire here, as he may not be able to stretch those softs the whole way to the end. And it is the mediums that he jumps onto. Xavi looks like he's had a crash on his F1, and he's out of the session for the time being. We'll see if he's able to jump back in, as he's now into the pits. DRS enabled. Green flag racing here through sector 3 now. David sticking to that Alpha like glue. What a race we've had so far here in Monaco. Through the tunnel now. David still maintaining less than a second behind that Alpha. Currently the tightest gap on the grid. Flyer looking to make up some time on Brownie as well. We saw Flyer running in fourth earlier on in this race after he suffered some major wing damage. Unfortunately, he had to pit and lost out on a couple of places. Xavi into the pits once again here. Not too sure if we've seen him return to his car after we saw him dip out of the session a moment ago. It does not look like he is back in his car. We did, of course, see him crash earlier on in the original race before the restart. So 11 drivers remaining here. Tiger currently running in 13th, but by the end of the race, I'm sure we'll want to see him jump into 11th. He's currently 3 minutes and 21 seconds behind P10. Unless that was an error on Codemasters. He's been lapped twice. He's an entire lap behind Big Boy Daniel at the moment. Brownie, 16 seconds behind podium positions right now in that Williams. He's missing a front right end plate on his wing as well. He was, of course, involved in that major collision with Kai Bacchini earlier on, where he literally rode the wall in Sector 3. David dropping a little bit behind Jumbex now in third. Gelmel taking a 3-second time penalty after multiple warnings. Everybody on the grid right now currently spread out quite a bit. Not too many battles happening. Some idiot currently running in first. Jumbeck second. David third. Brownie fourth. Flyer 634 in fifth. Gelmel in sixth. Techslave seventh. Zavi eighth. Smasha is running ninth in the Ferrari, and Big Boy Daniel 10th, rounding off the top 10 drivers. Tiger, a very long way away in P11 as well, but he will finish the race so far here, as we have 6 drivers out of contention here in Monaco. Cosmin, Kai Bacchini, TJD, Cali, That Grosjean Boy, and Tiger Racing all unable to finish the race. Some drivers love driving here in Monaco. Other drivers dread the idea of having to race this circuit. Definitely strong for some, weak for others, as it's looking like a very strong circuit for some idiot in that Racing Point. Currently 19.5 seconds ahead of P2. He is absolutely running away with this race. One thing to note is Big Boy Daniel in the Racing Point is closing a gap on the Ferrari of Smasha right now. Currently only a second and a half between the two of them. That is the second smallest gap on the grid at this time. Could be that Smasha is starting to feel the tire degradation on those mediums. Currently 12 laps old, whereas Big Boy Daniel on the 18-lap old mediums. We'll jump on with Big Boy Daniel as they move through and navigate Sector 1 here, coming down into the teardrop hairpin. Looks like he may have tapped a wall there at some point, as he's currently missing both end plates, and he's tapped his front wing. That front wing is gone. So, ooh, a little bit of a spin there coming out of the tunnel for Big Boy. He backs things up, cooks his rear tires, trying to get things going and getting back his momentum. He'll definitely be looking to pit here. Would be the safe option for him, as he has quite a lead over the 11th place running McLaren. And he takes a 3-second time penalty after multiple warnings. We'll jump back on board with David now, as he's still very tight on the rear of that Alpha. This entire race, David has been doing a very good job of applying pressure to Jumbex in that Alpha, picking his moments very carefully, not making any overzealous moves here. Currently less than 4/10 separating the two of them, moving through Sector 3 now. Flyer taking a 3-second time penalty after multiple warnings. We will, of course, at the end of this race, go through the race director and have a look-see at all of the penalties accumulated over the course of this race here in Monaco. And full disclosure, it's a lot of them. There is a lot of penalties here as we see Jumbex and David overtake that back marker of Big Boy Daniel. We'll have a quick look-see here at the stops in this race. As you can see, the front three drivers in the podium positions have only stopped once here in this race. Xavi, the most notable driver here, 4 stops with a total of 5 stops here in Monaco. This race definitely not going his way. Brownie, Flyer, Tech Slave, all with the 2 stops. Gel Mel, 3 stops. Smasha, 2 stops. Big Boy Daniel, 3 stops. Looks like he did end up changing that front wing. And Tiger Jr. with 2 stops. Tiger Jr. on the 16-lap old medium compound tires right now. He is currently running with the oldest tires on the grid as he crosses now onto his 17th lap. Or should I say moving onto his 18th lap on those tires. Still 10 laps to go here in Monaco as we are on lap 30 at the moment. Still a little bit of time here to see a safety car. We'll see if things tighten up the grid here over the next few laps. But given the current space between all of these drivers, a safety car is not likely unless somebody loses their traction into a wall, which is, again, very, very likely as these tires are starting to wear out for most of these guys. Gel Mel now moving on to the soft compound. He'll try his luck on those tires. Perhaps he'll be able to make up some space between him and P6. I'm very curious to see what is going to unfold here over this final phase of the race between David and Jumbex, as David has just kept it so tight to the rear of that Alpha throughout this entire race. He could just be biding his time to make a last-minute move. Only time will tell. Smasha currently 5 seconds behind the Red Bull of Xavi. He is, however, on 17-lap old medium compound tires compared to Xavi's 10-lap old mediums. If all of these medium runners, some idiot Jumbex, David, and Flyer are looking to finish the race on those mediums, things could get very, very slick with a massive loss of grip as the tire wear is starting to climb. So we'll have to keep a close eye on that. Flyer taking a 3-second time penalty after multiple warnings. Tiger Jr. has retired out of this session. I've just noticed that. So it looks like everybody that's going to finish this race is fortunately going to collect some points here, as out of the 17 drivers that started this campaign, we've only got 10 remaining. Big Boy Daniel moving into the pits now. He's looking to get a fresh wing and fresh tires on there. He's jumping onto the softs. Could be that he's going for the fastest lap of the race. One thing to note here is Some Idiot is in a very, very comfortable position, 34 seconds ahead of second place at the moment. Getting an update now from the ASN stewards, as Xavi and Smasha, although they are still in this race, have been disqualified from the official race results. He will, of course, update me with more information as it becomes available, but they will be out of the points in this race. So realistically, that leaves us with 8 drivers left here in Monaco out of the 17 that began. And that would also essentially promote Big Boy Daniel up into P8 as well. Now on lap 34, moving through sector 2 is David, still on the rear, applying pressure to the Alpha of Jumbex. Only a few laps remaining here in Monaco, as Some Idiot, Jumbex, and David, all on the 20-lap-old compounds, looking to maintain those podium positions through the final few laps here in Monaco. We got Flyer and Smasha on 21-lap-old mediums as well. A few of these drivers opting to jump onto the softs here to make things comfortable for these last few laps. Brownie into the pits now in that Williams. We'll see what he's looking to do here. He's jumping onto the soft compound, getting a fresh wing as well. We'll have a look, see where he comes out. Looks like Flyer is going to overtake him while he's in the pits. We'll see who else is able to make a move ahead of Brownie there. It looks like Flyer is going to be the only one moving ahead of Brownie. He comes out in 5th with 9.1 seconds separating him and Flyer. So on the fresh soft compound tires, he'll be looking to close that gap over the next 4 laps. Three laps, my apologies. David with the DRS now, coming through the pit straight. Is he going to be able to make a move? He's been very, very patient throughout this race. Very patient in that Renault is David. As if you've been with us from the beginning, David has been on that Alpha within 1 second this entire race. Very, very consistent driving from these two. Brownie on the softs, absolutely flying as he's already taken 2 seconds out of Flyer. Flyer on the 23-lap old medium compounds. It's very possible that he will come under threat from Brownie. Brownie has shown us throughout this race that he is very, very rapid. He's already taken 3.5 seconds out of Flyer. Could very well see Brownie make up the gap over the course of the next 2 laps here and take P4, which would be a very nice result for him as he's currently up 11 positions, looking to make it 12 positions up from where he began. Take another look at the stops here as we see the front 3 podium drivers all on the 1-stop strategy. Flyer on 2 stops, Brownie on 3, Tech Slave on 2, Gelmel on 3, Smasha on 2, and Xavi on 6 pit stops throughout this race. The only one matching him is TJD, who was unable to finish the race. Brownie setting the fastest lap of the race, a 1:11.130. So that will secure him an additional point, and he's currently only a 1.5 seconds behind Flyer on the final lap here in Monaco. As we come around the final corner now, David, having been on the rear of that Alpha this entire race, is he going to be able to make a move with the DRS? Down the pit straight to finish this race ahead of Jumbex. We see Brownie there making an overtake. Brownie ahead of Flyer, already a second ahead. He's made that move stick. 30 seconds separating him and the podium right now. He will be looking to finish in 4th as it stands. David, if he's going to make a move on this Alpha, it's going to happen now as some idiots. 45 seconds ahead of P2. He finishes the race first. Brownie in 4th, catching that checkered flag. Flyer in 5th, again catching that checkered flag ahead of Jumbex and David. Gelmel and Xavi finishing 7th and 9th respectively, taking that checkered flag. Once again, Smasha and Xavi are going to be disqualified from the session following some post-race penalties. So the battle to watch here, David and Jumbex, the battle we have been watching for the past 10 laps. Is he going to do it here on the final section of this race? And he does move ahead as I think both drivers might have ran out of fuel. David taking 2nd place here, finishing the Monaco Grand Prix. Of course, some idiot with the race victory in the Racing Point. Very, very interesting race here in Monaco. Very exciting to watch. I can't get over the contact that I witnessed between Kai Bacchini and Brownie earlier on. Absolute crazy crash to watch, as it is the Racing Point driver in 1st and the Renault driver of David in 2nd, and Jumbex finishing 3rd here in Monaco. 17 drivers started this race. Only 8 drivers are going to finish, as we see Xavi and Smasha going to be disqualified here according to ASN. So to go over the grid, it's some idiot winning the race here in Monaco. David in 2nd, Jumbex in 3rd, Brownie finishing 4th with the fastest lap of the race, a 1:11.130. Flyer 634 in the Ferrari finishes 5th. Tech Slave in the Alpha is 6th. Gelmel in the Renault is 7th. A nice haul of points here for Renault in Monaco. Smasha and Zavi are going to get thrown out of this one. So Big Boy Daniel more than likely going to see him promoted up into 8th position. All other drivers, unfortunately, were unable to finish the race.